Look, he's already figuring out ground tying. I always put on and remove blankets over the horse's head.
Oh, he learned what electric fence is too, right? I hear he likes them, right? He didn't really think it was that great. So, we introduced him to the trot cue yesterday. I'm going to see if we can prove that his understanding of it is a little bit better today. And then if it is, then hopefully... Nope. So I'm going to ask him to stop moving by using his hind end. Make him look at me and wait. He needs to learn to wait for instructions. He can't just assume that we're going to go do something. He doesn't know what I want him to do, so he hasn't been told he needs to stay standing. But if we can move on and ask him to canter today, it'll probably be just as wild as learning the trot cue, but I'm hoping that his trot cue is a little more solid today. Back.
Clearly, I have to work hard at getting his attention, as he's very busy being distracted by outside influences.
Nope. So we've got something worrying him back there, so maybe I'll say, all right, here. Good job. Now his shoulders are leaning like he wants to take off to the right, so I'm going to ask him to go. I'm going to ask him to go to the right, not the left. So you're going to go this way because his shoulders are leaning to the left. So I always ask him to go kind of the opposite direction that they seem to want to go. So that way I'd understand that they understand I've told what he does, not him making the decision on his own.
What I was explaining there is that if the horse is leaning in anticipation in one direction, I'll ask him to go in the other direction, just to ensure that I know they understand what I'm asking them to do.
So we'll just let him kind of get in a little bit of a trot, a little bit of a walk here, so he's kind of stretched out, confident in that. He learned to turn on the rail yesterday, which is also the beginning of a turn.
This is a change of direction request, but Aiden is still very new at his understanding, so his forward needed to be interrupted by wiggling the rope. Once he completed the turn, all my energy went away, and I returned to a neutral body language. When I begin to ask for another change of direction, I stand up taller, step back, and then offer him another direction with support.
So I might, when he gets up part of this hill here, I might ask him for another change of direction.
Again, he proved to be confused and required me to interrupt his forward motion. Once I had his attention back on me, sort of, I stood and just asked for him to go in the direction that I was pointing.
So I'll do a couple more of those, just because he did it so well yesterday, which could have been a fluke, but I'm going to ask him to change.
Now he's starting to understand the change of direction better.
And if I don't think he can develop into a canter today, maybe I would try to change the directions in the trot instead. Ask him to change now.
As you can see, he's still dealing with being distracted. Notice, though, I don't get any louder or mad at him for his youthful lack of attention.
His confidence is changing a little bit.
All right, now it's time to ask for the trot. My trot cue is 2 kisses rapidly together. If he doesn't pick up the trot immediately, there'll be a pause and then 2 more kisses rapidly together. I will continue that pattern until he picks up the trot.
I didn't ask him to stop, so I'm just going to get after him a little bit and keep going. Because I'm happy with that, I might feel him.
Stopping him is my form of appreciation, and it's a release from the cue.
Because I intend to keep a change of direction at the trot, I'm going to leave him out there and go right ahead. Nope, you're assuming something. Don't assume. That way. Alright, so that hesitation is nothing more than him just asking, are you sure that's what you want me to do? So, of course, that is what I wanted him to do, so I just allowed him to do it.
Maybe I'll work on transitions.
So I might
Walk
ask
to
him to
trot
walk.
and trot to walk.
Might ask him to trot again. Hoping to not have to use the stick, hoping that the trot cue can just be enough. Good job. Now ask him to walk.
The wiggle on the rope is what tells him to downward transition. Once he started walking, he checked with me because he wasn't sure if he should stop. Then I simply raised my hand in the direction I wanted him to go. I also raised my support just in case it was going to be necessary, and he knew to continue walking.
Good job. Good job. So, see if I can stop him. Good job.
The stop is what brings the game to the end. He no longer needs to feel he's supposed to be doing something.
Being that he wants to give me a little energy, I might take advantage of the fire in his feet and see if we can canter, which could be a little fun. Want to learn how to canter?
Now it's time to teach Aiden the canter cue. My canter cue is 4 rapid kisses. I'll pause between the 4 before beginning again. I will continue this pattern until he takes his first canter stride. As soon as he takes his first canter stride, all supporting stimuli and the cue will end in hopes that he will realize that means he got the right answer.
So, I'm not going to ask it from a walk. That's a little rude. So, I might get him up in the trot. He's already told me we're going to have fun. Ready? Good job. Trot. Walk. 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 And now I'm going to use him because he's got a little fire. Is that fun? Yeah. Good boy. Is that fun? Okay, ready? Back a little bit. Good man. Stop. Go that way, please. Nope. Watch. Watch me. Don't make assumptions. Watch me. Where am I telling you to go? Good man. There you go. So again, I'm not going to ask him from the walk. Go ahead and ask him to trot. I didn't ask for it, so I'm going to say, wait, I didn't tell you to do that yet. Don't find the word. Now I'll ask him to trot. Good job. So, cancer is already on his mind. Woohoo! Trot's firing. Let him get straight. Good job. Just leaving him alone until he settles in. And now, good foot. In that foot yet. Trot's firing. Trot's firing. He's got the balance. There you go. Like things are not playing on you like this. Don't sit still. Crossfiring again.
So what I mean by cross-firing is his hind legs are not in the right position at that gait in unison with his front legs. In a canter, the front leg and the hind leg on the same side move together. When they crossfire, the front leg is moving out in front and the hind leg is moving towards the back. This spread out position of the legs is going to set him off balance. So I'm trying to fix that before I ask him to stay at the canter. Because he got himself all revved up. I've asked him to just walk to help him collect himself.
strong. Walk. Walk. No, walk. 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 No, 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 no. Walk. Okay. Job. So now he's just kind of doing this. So what do you think of this? If I stop, what are you going to do about it? That's okay. Yeah, my breath is a little bit in there. So I might ask for the trot again. Then I might ask for the walk again.
So now I'm just trying to take the assumption away. He thinks I'm just going to make him run again. So instead, I'm going to work on something we were working on before we even started that exercise.
Put your hands a little energy showing. Right. Right. Trot. Good man. No, I didn't say stop. You still trot. Good job. Now you can walk. Good man. Walk. Walk. No, no, no. Walk.
Because this has become much more confusing than his young brain can handle. He's starting to kind of get shut down on me, and I'm going to need to find a quitting spot.
This time I'm going to invite him in. So, give him a little rest. Soak on that. So, I'm going to go ahead and go back to doing some range cues with him. Good man.
In order to allow him to kind of air up, I decided to go back to doing some rain cues with him. I'm simply asking him to bring his nose around to his elbow. This is also known as lateral flexion. This exercise is specifically used to help horses learn about when rain stops. So as his feet move, I stay with him until his feet stop moving, and then I release. I will hold steady pressure as I bring his nose around, but I won't release until he gives and puts slack in the line.
I want him to think every time I pick up on the rein, it means check in with me. Good job. See if I didn't just get lucky because he's looking for his friends. Good job. No, I'm not touching. Good job. Sorry, not really noticed today. That was excitement. So another cue. I'm not sure. Another cue he's going to learn is to put his head down, which a big horse like him, we'd like him to know how to do that. So we'll go ahead and ask him to put his head down with pressure on his head. Against is natural. but I gotta get my breath back.
So all I'm doing is applying pressure to the top of the pole, but not pushing down. Just creating enough downward pressure to cause him to want to move away from it, and away from it downward. Soon as he goes down, I release. Since he's not seeming to understand, I'm going to offer more support by using downward pressure on the lead line. The second he drops his head, I release all pressure.
I want to be able to do it without giving him full pressure with the rope. Most of the time you want him to put his head down, it's to put a halter or a bridle on. You don't have another piece of equipment to pull his head down with, and you need him to be able to put it down to your hand. I want him to understand, put it down to his hand. I'm just helping myself a little bit by giving him the full pressure of the rope. I'm still here. You can't focus me. Sometimes they'll get, just enough if they understand what you're asking for, but you won't be able to get them. I'm here. Yeah, you can't push me around. Where they understand it enough to just respond to the cue, but he may not be ready to put his nose to the ground today, which is fine, so I'm going to help myself again using the rope. Nope, you're not going anywhere. It's simple. Don't move our feet. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. There. You gotta stay focused on me. Put your head in the rubber. You're offering, so I'm going to take it. Nope, 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 I'm going to stretch your post. Nope, nope. Hey, look up. We're not done. Help myself again. He's offered me at least his nose to his chest as far as height. So I want to at least get that before I quit. Help part of his reactiveness is he kind of flings his head at you. So he's figured out his head's a pretty good weapon. Fix that. See if I can get his nose to his knee. Let's say go anywhere. So you can tell he's a baby when it comes to his attention span. So I would end with that being enough of an understanding today on that.
I always say the best feedback you can get from a horse is when you turn them loose. If they still want to be with you, you've done something right.
You don't have to come with me. You can go home. Whoa. Roll. There. Be dirty. Be dirty. You don't have to come with me. Okay, then turn the camera off. Can't ask for better feedback than that. A horse that still wants to do stuff with you.
Then you get him to sit down.